There's a bigger issue here. Just because a group of people belong to the Federation, it does not mean that they are saints. The trouble is Earth. On Earth, there is no poverty, no crime, no war. You look out the window of Starfleet headquarters and you see paradise. Well, it's easy to be a saint in paradise. Out there, all the problems haven't been solved yet. Out there are no saints, just people. Angry, scared, determined people who are going to do whatever it takes to survive.
What I want to know is, out of all the stories you told me, which ones were true and which ones weren't?
My dear doctor, they're all true.
Even the lies?
Especially the lies.
On behalf of the Bajor government
And the Promenade Merchants Association,
I officially welcome you to Deep Space Nine.
Welcome back, everybody, to Especially the Lies, a Deep Space Nine podcast. We announced in our video when we said we were coming back that we were going to be discontinuing the Patreons. We have actually managed to get that worked out where we will be maintaining those, so those will be continuing. Surprise, newsflash. So those are going to stay active and going for as long as those who would like to continue supporting us and our shenanigans and bullshit would like to continue to do so. Some of that funding may even go to our therapy bills and or alcohol bills, whichever the case may be for those of us dealing with this show. I am Blake, and with me is...
Prentice.
Starting out strong. Jessi.
Christopher.
Nicole.
Chris.
Second.
And Emily.
And we are here to discuss what I am sure is going to be a completely neutral, in no way offensive or timely, or have any connotation at all episode of Deep Space Nine called Sanctuary. For a synopsis of this episode, Jessi.
Yes. Okay. Ready? Men are far too emotional to be leaders. The end.
Boom.
Wow.
Again, for the second episode in a row, we can just stop the podcast right here
And we're
move
done.
on. Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. We will catch you on the next episode.
But we got 3 rails to ride.
Oh, good God.
Emily is really wanting to ride the rail tonight, so let's just go. Let's start our first impressions here and see where this is going to go. So, Nicole, please save us from Emily.
Well, I didn't like this one, to be honest. I didn't really care for it. I couldn't get into it. I don't really know how to describe my feelings on this. I just didn't care for the Skrreean men. They were obnoxious. I do like, however, that it's like a society ruled by women, and that women were the leaders and the ones making the decisions. I thought that was pretty badass. The Hanik and Kira relationship kind of broke my heart a little. It was hard, I guess, towards the end with the feeling of betrayal, and they both thought they were doing the right thing. And it was just, I don't know, it was just too emotional for me, which I don't know who the hell I am tonight, but
say the hell.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it didn't sit right with me. Like something fell off. I don't really know how to describe it. So in a turn of events, Little Mary Sunshine or whatever the fuck Scott called me isn't so much tonight.
So Little Miss Sunshine is gone. Emily's bringing the smut. Christopher, what have you got for us on this one?
So I thought this was an okay episode. I enjoyed it. It reminded me a lot of kind of the classic original series episodes and TNG episodes where you have this moral dilemma and that could be, brought to modern day and they discuss it in a manner that makes you think. So it was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I was just okay with it.
And Chris, how about you?
So the execution of the episode, the actual story, the writing, their slip was showing the entire episode. The plot was see-through. It was wildly predictable. We all saw what they were trying to do and where they were going. I felt like the execution was handled like a blind man with 10 thumbs. It was insane. And I'm sitting there the whole time and I'm like, I don't remember the last time I watched an episode of a series that I felt was botched that bad. What they were trying to do, hats off to them, addressing that topic, which is a stark reality that we are all faced with today and are living in. Hats off to them for that, so not shying away from it. I felt like a lot of the primary symptoms of that type of situation or societal circumstance was present in the story. So they at least got that part right. But everything else about it, I just fell way short. But yeah, that's my initial reaction without getting into too much detail.
And Jessi, your first impression?
I didn't hate it. I actually don't remember that much about it, except that men are too far emotional and she had 2 husbands. So listen, let me put this out now. I am looking for a gay couple who would like to have a wife. You guys, I don't need anything from it except you to pay 2/3 of my bills. So if that is you, hit us up on the email.
Yeah, but she was getting double stuffed, Jessi. She wasn't having a gay couple.
And here's the thing. Would that be so bad? We don't know.
Probably not.
In it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't,
For the record, to our listeners, please don't send that to our inbox. Please don't email us with applications to be Jessi's gay throuple.
I just need pics. That's all I need.
Please don't send us those either. I have seen some of what comes to our email and social media before.
No, here's the thing. Would it be so bad? I don't know. I don't know what the logistics was. Are we a throuple? All the time? Or is it
hey, where'd she go?
The internet kicked her off.
I have to say, Jessi did warn us before she hopped on here that her laptop was at 26%. And given her line of discussion, I think there's an irony in saying that her battery just died.
Wah, wah.
I believe she's going to jump on her phone and rejoin us was the plan. So while we wait to get Jessi back, let's go ahead and get the reactions from those who have been through the series. And we will start with Prentice.
I have not seen the episode in a very long time. I thought it was a decent episode. And I especially like the fact that it didn't end on a happy note. A lot of these shows, especially in Star Trek, they find these compromises and everyone is happy at the end. But at the end, you saw it was a very harsh reality. Kira said, I think I did what's best for my people, and I have to stand by that. And the person she was becoming friends with said to her face, I think you made the wrong decision. And I think that tension, especially as we face this eerily similar circumstance in our present reality, I think it was more poignant, leaving it at that tension at the end, that disagreement, not a happy ending. So for me, I thought it was a great Deep Space Nine episode. Now, granted, it may not have been executed as a Emmy Award-winning episode, but for Star Trek as a whole, it was a decent Star Trek episode.
Emily.
I actually that this feels like you have 2 to navigate. May not have been the best one, though. I do appreciate for that. The rest of it, not the best.
And it looks like we might have Jessi back with us. Maybe. Or not.
Can you hear me?
There we go. There's Jessi.
Okay, how do I turn? Okay, I'm old. Leave me alone.
We talked about it. You're seasoned. You're not old.
Okay, I'm seasoned. There's more salt and pepper. Can you tell me how to turn my damn...
it's on the bottom. The icon on the bottom. Yeah.
No, there's not. There's no buttons at the bottom. Hold, please.
It should be next to your audio button.
I see it.
Oh,
there we go. There's a Jessi.
You can see me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I can see me, but that's fine. I don't give a shit. I don't need to see me. I know what I look like. Okay, cool. Somewhere, can you hear? Is my audio okay? Because this is my computer said no. Fuck that, Jessi. You're being naughty. Stop it.
We said there was an irony in your battery dying while you were trying to pick up a gay couple.
Aww. Story of my life. Let's go. Move on.
So I'll say I also agree with Prentice and Emily, and I think this episode, for those who have watched a lot of Star Trek, especially The Next Generation, almost to a fault, there could have been some really great episodes there if they would have let there be the tension and the flaws there, but Roddenberry would never allow it. But he wasn't necessarily involved with this show, so they kind of went some different directions. And actually, the original script for this had the everybody wins, everybody happy ending. And Michael Piller, when he looked through the script, said, no, we're going to do this different. Not everybody's going to win. And that's when they came up with the ending that they had for this episode, where it really doesn't paint Kira in that good of a light. It doesn't end with everybody happy and moving on happily to the next week. And I think that marks a turning page in both the type of storytelling that this opened the doors to, as well as where this series goes, and even in Next Generation, because this aired the same week that TNG Parallels aired. And while never to the extent of DS9, I think even after this point in some of the TNG writing, you got to see a little bit more of the risk-taking and the different storylines, but DS9 took it even further than what TNG did. So I think we'll go ahead and jump into our main discussion, and I already see hands raised, so Chris.
So here's my thing. I'm a big fan of, yes, things not having the rosy, happy ending all the time, especially when you're dealing with a more heavy topic like this one. The thing for me, though, is I felt like there was a glaring path towards that everybody could have had what they wanted or needed, and it all would have ended out right. But instead of things naturally going down that wide open path, they forced it down a more narrow path to give it the ending that they gave. If they would have executed the storytelling better, in my opinion, they would have set it up to a point where, say, for instance, right, because I don't want to be the person that just says they fucked it up and then not have an alternative. So they could have done something like there was no alternative planet, or the alternative planet was a planet that would have been way worse than the Northwest Peninsula on Bajor, and it would have been an even greater struggle for them, but it would have been something that would have worked, right? So now we're looking at, okay, this group of people are looking for a new home. The Northwest Peninsula in Bajor, according to the Bajorans, is not going to work or would be extremely difficult to work. But these people are saying, hey, we got it. We can do, this is what we do, right? Like, this is what we're made for. This is our shit. Let us rock. But instead, you guys are trying to put us on this planet that's barely habitable. And we're, the chances of us making it there are way worse than on Bajor. Then you introduce all the other issues that the Bajorans have, right? We're still trying to recover ourselves. We don't have the resources to help you out if things go bad for you, which they most likely will, in our opinion. Now I think it makes more sense for that tension to be there and to continue to build on it. But when they could have easily done something like, hey, okay, look, we get what you're saying, right? And you see that you're strongly invested in taking over the Northwestern Peninsula on Bajor. How about you send some of your people there, your best, your brightest, right? You guys come, you check out the Northwest Peninsula. Let's work together to put together a strategy. If we agree that there's a promise in this strategy we developed for you guys to cultivate agriculture on the Northwest Peninsula and for the rest of y'all to come on down, then we can do that. In the meantime, the rest of you will go to this new planet, which is perfectly fine and is great, and settle there, and then we can see if everybody can migrate back over to the Northwest Peninsula in Bajor, if you really believe this is the planet that's in your prophecy, right? The planet of sorrow that you all are destined to come and rescue. It was so easy, the solution. It was right in front of their face. I don't know, maybe Jessi, maybe you're right. Maybe there were too many men in the decision-making room, and that's why the obvious decision wasn't made. But in my opinion, I'm like, it took me way out of it. Whenever something like this goes down, as far as executing, writing a story, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, the answer is so obvious. Let's just go there. But they don't. Now I'm being forced into a path they want me to go to that doesn't feel natural, and it completely just kills it for me. So that's my thing, right? Like, I understand not wanting to end on a good note. I understand conflict is the center of every single story that's ever been told. So you need that there. But in this case, I didn't feel like they handled it right.
Nicole.
So something Prentice said, I think, really resonated with me on why I had such a hard time with this episode, about how it didn't have a happy ending. And I think that's probably why it was hard for me to digest, because apparently I don't live in fucking reality. And I want everything to be a happy ending. Not the kind you're thinking, guys. But, I want every story to have a happy ending. And I want it to be sunshine and rainbows. And this one wasn't. It was hard. It was brutal. It was kind of like the one episode we had such a debate on last season with them burning the guy's cottage down or whatever.
I still want to argue about that.
It just was uncomfortable, and it was hard for me to digest because, like you said, Chris, there was so many other solutions that could have happened, and it was so easy on how they could have made it work. But it's like I wanted to yell at the TV and be like, get your fucking head out of your ass. You know what I mean? So I just think that that's probably why it was a harder one for me to digest. And I don't know, seeing someone be mean to Kira, she was deeply hurt, and she really wanted to be friends, and she liked this woman. She respected her, and she was just like, fuck off, bitch, bye, and I don't think Kira meant any harm, and they really truly were trying to find a solution for them and find a place for them. It wasn't like they were like, fuck you, find it on your own. Like, they really went above and beyond to try to help them. They brought their people there. They helped them find a planet. Like, it's not like they didn't try or weren't doing any work towards getting them where they need to go. It just wasn't where they wanted to go. So I don't know. Sometimes things don't always work out the way you want. And you just got to take an alternative route. It's life. But I guess maybe that's why it was hard for me to like this episode or digest it, because I don't know. When I watch a show, I just want it to be not hard like the rest of my life. So yeah.
Jessi.
Okay, so I feel, and I don't know how to do this. I feel this way on my daily life every day about people who are either too stupid or too uneducated to understand why what they're doing is not best for them. And people don't know what they don't know. This is an education problem, because what was best for them, in my opinion, and this is solely and only my opinion, not the opinions of the podcast, but I'm gonna guess it is too, is what was best for everybody was, you guys have a famine and they're farmers. So A plus B to me equals C. Let the motherfuckers go there. If it doesn't work, then send them to the fucking planet that you sent them to in the first place. So like, but you're too fucking selfish and stupid and uneducated, or all of the above, to know that that's best for you, because you're worried about, why I don't want to take care of them because I'm not my brother's keeper. It irritates the shit out of me. I watch it every day. And it's like, do you understand that what you're doing is not good for you? It is not the best option for you. It is not going to help you. And if given the chance, you would be thrown out of the fucking country too, to save the billionaires. Like, it is the top 1%. With everybody against everybody, and everybody's too blind to fucking figure out what's going on. You're so focused on hating the other. I just had this conversation yesterday with my little friend, or with my friend's little brother, and like, he posted some stupid shit, and it doesn't even matter what it was, but I was like, I'm just curious, when's the last time you sat down with somebody like that and actually had a conversation? Because it's like, you don't know what you don't know. If you grow up around all white people, you see a black person, you're like, oh, it's different. And if you've been taught your whole entire fucking life about what's bad with this person, you're automatically gonna whatever. But if you sit down and you have a conversation and you understand that they're probably a lot like you, probably not, you probably have differences, but I probably have differences from every other white person in this world. It's fucking stupid. So like, we have this a lot here in our country. Everybody wants to tell people, like, speak English, do this, do that. How'd you people get here? Because you sure as fuck don't look Native American or Mexican to me. Do you speak Spanish? Do you speak whatever tribe that your people came from? Because if you have white skin, you didn't fucking belong here in the first place. They were no, let me think. You pushed your way in, you took over, you colonized, and then those people were kind enough to let other people just come into the country, but at some point we stopped doing that. Okay, I'm done with my soapbox. Sorry. It just this whole fucking episode irritated me. Like, joking earlier, it irritates me. It's fucking stupid. This is like literally textbook 101 of what we deal with on a basis every single fucking day, and we will forever, because everybody's too fucking stupid to understand the difference.
Prentice.
Chris, I wanted to ask you, Chris too, about the story structure. Do you think because they only have 45 minutes for the exposition that they chose a very simplistic way to resolve the story instead of doing a little bit more complicated? Because to me, what you're talking about, introducing that kind of subtext, that takes a little bit longer of a storytelling format to really execute that problem. Do you think that might have had something to do with it?
It very well could have. That's a good point. You know, you only have so much time, right, to tell that particular story, especially if it's not part of an ongoing storyline that you're going to thread through multiple episodes. So that could be it. But in my opinion, I feel like the greater problem wasn't the time constraint. The greater problem was it almost felt like they had, this is the idea for the episode, and this is how we want to end it. We're going to write towards that ending, right? And somewhere along the way, they were like, they kind of lost the plot points along the way. Or let me take that back. They lost the story along the way in order to hit certain plot points. And then by the time it came to the end, they're like, well, we got to hit this ending. So they just kept writing towards that and forced it into that ending. Like, that's the thing. It felt forced to me because, as Jessi was saying, there were so many obvious options. The big one being, just work with them. You guys need farmers. You're in a famine, right? You have no resources. This is their specialty. This is what they've rocked with for God knows how many generations, right? How many thousands or millions of years since the people have been in existence. This is what they do. Let them rock. But instead, they were like, no, you're going to go to this other planet that we found. So I felt like it was more of a execution on the writing of the story as opposed to a time constraint. However, if it was, say, a 2-hour episode, right, or a 2-hour movie, then you have a lot more space to massage things and to work it out. So that very well could have resolved it, but I feel like they more were trying to land at that spot, and they didn't really do a good job of getting there. Again, in my opinion.
Okay.
Christopher.
To me, felt like I had some questions. Like they were talking about how they'd been enslaved for 800 years, but it seemed like that has been like how long they've been off planet, and that why was there no historical record of them on Bajor? If they were from Bajor, it just like at the beginning of the episode when they didn't have the universal translator working, it wasn't able to translate their language. That it just kind of threw me off. Like if they were from Bajor, you would think that they would know, right? And
they weren't from Bajor.
But that part of the storyline just kind of like seemed like, why were they going there? You could just I don't know. I really didn't like that part of it.
Maybe, and sorry to cut you off. Like they weren't from Bajor, so like they wanted to go. Like somebody had. I don't remember how they figured it out, but they figured it out that there was area there and that there was a famine, and they were like, "That's my planet." It's like you want to go somewhere, and it's going to be if you want to help people, and you find out that Cuba has people that need to be helped, and you want to go to Cuba. That's exactly what happened. Was like.
In the setup of it was.
Then I missed that. Completely.
Well,
and
so the setup was that according to their belief, the wormhole was the gateway to their new homeworld, not their original homeworld.
Right. Okay. All right.
It bases in prophecy. There was a prophecy about the planet that will be their salvation.
Right. And I just heard what I heard was you saw it wrong, which I do all the time.
Yeah.
And that's, if you can fix that one little piece, it might make more sense.
Yeah. And then it took me like out of the episode, and now it makes a little bit more sense. And I got to think about what I actually thought about it now.
It's still fucking stupid, but yeah.
Emily.
About but we're also rational or logic. I understand longer
Yeah.
And the rest that come with that, because
how many Bajorans are there? Because they were saying they had like 3 million refugees coming in, and I don't think they've ever really said how many Bajorans they've had.
Yeah,
they may not have said how many, but I think from the last season and a half, we've gotten a sense of scarcity, issues about farming in terms of the condition of the planet. Government. Right, the condition of the planet after the Kardashians pretty much.
Right,
and
the people have been kind of annihilated. The land has been pillaged, and everything's been kind of taken out. And they spent the last few episodes just kind of saying how like poorly run Bajor is.
And
right?
that's like another risk. It's not just farm don't. It's what happened if our planet falls. They have to. That was like in the first episode question.
Putting trauma on top of trauma sometimes. I think we all want them to work together. Idealistically, we want to do that, but sometimes you do have to have hard consideration that putting this on top of each other, the trauma may not be best. It may even exacerbate the situation. So it is a hard choice. And I'm glad, once again, they put that in the episode, because sometimes as you're working with different communities of need, that there are hard choices that have to be made, and not everybody's going to be happy with the final outcome of that decision. So that's why, for me, I appreciate episodes like this, because I think so often we're put in a situation where people think that always is going to be a great outcome, and unfortunately, that's not how it works all the time. But I do appreciate Chris and Jess the idea that, we do have to be a little bit more collective in our thinking about our problems, not just thinking me, and thinking about, okay, we're all in this together. How can we do the hard work to kind of come up with a united solution?
Right. Well, it's hard because my family immigrated here from Ireland, and we came in at a time that there were no laws. They came through Ellis Island. Like, my family was welcomed with, give me your hungry, give me your poor. My family was welcomed with open arms. And what do I look like turning around and being like, why are you here? What are you doing? It's not like they're coming into my fucking house and taking food out of my refrigerator. And that's what people act like in it. And it just drives me nuts. And I get it. I understand everybody's point. I don't understand the trauma that she's got, because I've never been through that. But like, it's hard for me to put myself into a place where I would I don't care how hungry you are. You can go fuck yourself. Like, I wouldn't do that with a dog that showed up at my door. I'm not going to do that with a human that has little baby humans that all they want is a good place to go. It's just really hard for me. Just like it's hard for somebody else on the exact opposite opinion to not know what they don't know, and it's hard for them to step out of their own experiences. It's very hard for me to step out of mine too. But I did the exact opposite of how I was raised. So it's like, I know it can be possible. You just have to, it's like, for me, it was an education thing. Other people, it's an experience thing. Some people go through things. I realized that if I don't know something, I want to learn about it. Through education, I was able to start to learn about racism is still a thing, very much a thing, because when you don't, we've talked about this, but like when you don't experience it, you don't know what's still going on. How do I know what's still going on? Because I don't see it every day. So then I step out of my box and I'm like, holy motherfuck, look what we're still doing in 2020 fucking 5. And it's so sorry. It's just really hard for me to like put myself into somebody else's shoes just exactly the same way as is for them. And I think I'm right and I think they're wrong and they think they're right and they think I'm wrong. So it's it's very similar, I guess. I just feel like I'm being the better human.
Well, I think there's even so much of this that could have went into even a multi-episode arc, because even if they would have allowed the settlement, and I think we've seen this in politics now, is how easy would it have been for them to then become the group that gets blamed for all that's wrong?
It happens every day.
And that's what we're seeing every day here with it's, why do we have issues with jobs? Well, it's the immigrants' fault. Why do we have issues with crime? It's the immigrants' fault. Why do we have all these issues?
Yeah.
And that just becomes the scapegoat group.
And then you remove them and all of a sudden, I don't have any prudence. My eggs are expensive. Fuck off. There's a reason for that and you're it. Oh, who saw?
Listen, if they can grow crops with toilet water and idiocracy, the Skrreea can do that side of the planet, okay?
Well, and
because Idiocracy is no longer a movie that's a joke. It's become
it's
a goddamn
true.
Right.
Yes.
But to Emily's point, I see like when she was talking, I don't usually listen to her, but she had a good point today. I'm just kidding. Like, I can understand the fear when you are, first of all, the trauma that they went through. So they have the personal experience, and then if you're exposed to Fox News all the time, I don't hate it, I don't love it, I don't give a fuck, right? But like, if you're experiencing people telling you all fucking day long that if we let these 3 million people in, they're gonna pillage and rape and they're gonna be the worst people in the world, and you're the fear of just like the unknown at that point. Sometimes just seeing what happens is detrimental. We've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, how bad could it be? Oh, I don't know. I can't vote. Like, what the fuck? It's weird. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Chris.
I believe they said in the episode that the Northwest Peninsula of Bajor had more than enough space for all 3 million of, I can't remember the name of their race, but all of these people.
The Skrreeans, yeah.
The Skrreeans. There was more than enough space for the 3 million Skrreeans on the Northwest Peninsula to immigrate to and to live in and see if they can make it work, right? Mm-hmm. So space wasn't an issue, or land, availability wasn't it. They also said, the Bajorans also said that the Northwest Peninsula has been completely abandoned. They have no interest in it. They have no investment in it. Nobody's inhabiting that area. They've completely written it off. So there is no, which I think is where the real fear would come in if this were the real world, which again, like we've all been saying, we're seeing today, the integration aspect, right? There is no need for integration with letting the Skrreeans come to Bajor and occupy the Northwest Peninsula. So all of that fear about how are they going to affect us? How is this going to affect us? What about us? Is this going to impact us? That's out the window because they're not occupying the Northwest Peninsula. They don't care about it. They're not doing anything with it. They're nowhere near it, right? And then on top of that, the Skrreeans also said, hey, when they were like, well, what if something happens? We're going to feel obligated to help you. The Skrreeans were like, you ain't got to. Don't worry about it. We don't need you. We got it. And once we get it going, we're willing to share all the fruits of our labor with you once we get it going. But we don't need your help. Even if things get terrible, we're not going to ask you for no help, right? Now, whether or not they stick to that is another thing. But say worst case scenario, they let them immigrate, occupy the Northwest Peninsula. They go down there. They can't crop shit out of the land on the Northwest Peninsula, right? You got DS9. You got all of the ships that all of the Skrreeans came on still. You have the Federation behind you. You still got this other perfectly habitable planet over here in the waiting. It's like, okay, It didn't work, right? Skrreeans are dying because we're also starving now. We can't make it happen. And we said we're not going to ask Bajor for any help because they can't help us. Well, why don't we all get on our ships that we came on, right? The Federation will help us for sure. We'll all go to that other planet to make it work at that other planet. Like there were so many holes in the fact of Bajor not wanting to help. On top of them, like you said, they had a famine. They weren't growing shit with the good land they had. What would it hurt them to let the Skrreeans occupy the Northwest Peninsula away from them, not integrating, not asking for help, not needing any expertise or anything because they're bringing the expertise? It didn't mesh with me. So again, that's my problem with this episode. You don't want to have a happy ending, fine. I love not happy endings. Like, because I believe, speaking of not happy endings, I believe one of the husbands was the guy from Seven who got caught by the serial killer in the hotel and was made to wear the strap on, right? That was him. I'm 99.9% sure that was him. And that movie doesn't have a happy ending, and that's one of my favorite movies of all time. So
wait,
listen,
that wasn't happy to you?
What's in the box? What's in the box? No, that wasn't happy, Jessi. But what I'm saying is I'm all for happy endings, but if you got to do it right. You have to do it right. And is there a way we can check and see if that was that guy? I'm gonna have to look on IMDb to see if that. I'm pretty sure that was him.
You talking about the Korean boy? Or you talking about one of the husbands?
No, he was one of the husbands. It was the dude from the hotel who was shaking and the blanket. He made me do it. He made me fuck her. That guy, like that was him. That was one of the husbands.
You know, I've never seen that movie. You've been talking about this since college. I've never watched Seven all the way through. I've never watched
Dude,
it.
you got. That's a different conversation. You got
Okay,
to
but
watch
have you seen It's a Dick in a Box? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Wow.
Okay, well,
SNL.
I can't hear about Seven without thinking about, because what's in the box? It's a dick in the box. That's how my wife, like every time. Every fucking time.
And Chris, you need to refer to the husbands as concubines, but I'm going to look up that IMDb profile.
Crazed man in massage parlor in Seven.
Yeah. I knew I recognized him.
You're excellent. You're excellent. Okay, great.
So am I hearing you paid extra special attention to the guy with the strap on? Is that what I heard? I'm just asking.
That's an iconic scene. That's an iconic scene. Like how
I didn't recognize him, Chris. So there's that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a penchant for recognizing faces. So, you know,
especially when they're strap-ons.
Especially when especially when they're a sick fuck who did what he did in Seven. Well, he was forced to. But anyways, yeah, that's my thing, right? I'm all for non-happy endings, but you got to make it work. You got to do it right.
So, Christopher, following non-happy endings and strap-on,
I'm not sure that I
next?
can follow that, but
box,
or that I should follow that. But to the point that you were originally making, that space wasn't an issue for them in the Northwest Peninsula, but fear of control. Bajorans have been occupied for 60 years. They now control the planet, and I think that for them, allowing the refugees would have been them giving up some form of control, and that they would always have had this fear that they weren't going to be in control of their own destiny, whether or not that they had the space that they could have actually been useful to them by helping farm and produce surplus food and help end the famine, right? There's that fear that they're not going to be in control of their own destiny. And I think like this has been hinted at a couple of other times. In Duet, you had the murder happen and he said, why did you do it? And he said, it's Cardassian. Isn't that enough? I think there's a Bajor for Bajor, right? They want control of their own. And we see this kind of like nationalism, this xenophobia in the Bajorans. And I think they could have tugged at that a little bit more to make the drama instead of this nice little box where they had this other planet that they could have gone to.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And let me say real quick. Sure. That's why my original statement in the beginning was if you weren't going to let them all come, get their best and brightest, get a select few, have them go down there, work together, see if you can devise a plan while all the rest of the Skrreeans go to the other planet. If they can devise a plan, right, you're not at threat of being overtaken. Number one, I don't think with the backing of the Federation and the space station being there, 3,000 farmers they're going to let 3,000 farmers do what the Cardassians did to the Bajoran. So,
but fear
there's
doesn't
that.
have to be legitimate.
No, I'm not saying it has to be legitimate. What I'm saying is that if they were afraid, oh, okay, we can't let them all, because if we let them all, like we've heard the rhetoric, we'll become the minority. We're going to become the minority if we let them all in, right? So yeah, I get that, and that makes sense. That's why I was like, let a handful of their experts come down. You guys work together, take a look at it, see if it can work. If it doesn't work, then you go back and say, hey, look, guys, we tried, it doesn't work. Even if the Skrreeans that you let down or the experts that you're working with come down and say, we can make this work. Again, my initial statement was, if you aren't confident, if the Bajorans weren't confident that they could make it work, they could still say, hey, look, we all came down, we came together, we tried, we're still not convinced. Y'all got to go to the other planet. But there were multiple routes to a much more natural conclusion to this, instead of the final hard line that they drew. So in one aspect, I guess, yes, that does reflect reality, because we do know in real life, especially politicians, they're more willing to draw a hard line and dig their heels in the ground on an issue, even when it doesn't do the best. It's not the best decision for their constituents or for the overall country, but it's what their party wants to do. And so that's what they're going to do, right? So I totally get that. I'm saying, but for this episode, there were just so many options. It's like, we got all these different things we could do that could potentially help everybody, but we're going to ignore all that shit, and we're just going to go this route because we want to hit this point at the end, and this is where we want to land. That's what I felt like they were doing with the episode.
Prentice.
I was just thinking, there's some background information they didn't really explain very well in this episode that could clear up some things. But then I'm going to circle back and give the win back to Chris, because I'm going to talk about something that makes no sense in the grand scheme of things. Now, one, they've talked about the land being so toxic that they have to have special machinery to clean up the land in order for them to be able to plant anything. That has been talked about in some of the episodes in the prior season. So they kind of knew the land is not just abandoned for the sake of being abandoned. It's bad land that's been toxic and been defiled by the Cardassians. That's one thing. But the flip side of it, this is the world of Star Trek. The Federation is a utopia. They can make food out of replicators. Food is not a problem. So the mere issue about famine and Bajor was always funny to me. I'm like, how does that happen? Because the Federation can just send you down a bunch of industrial replicators, and these replicators work on matter. They take inanimate objects and make it into food or whatever. So the whole thing of the famine being on that planet makes no sense. So if you want to look at it from that perspective, Chris, you're right. They could have lived in that peninsula. The Federation could have sent them some industrial replicate, and it would have been all right. But then you wouldn't have a story. I get it.
Right. Yeah, no, that's always the thing, right? That's the temptation that you, especially when you're writing sci-fi and you're creating your own lore, the temptation is to just pull shit out of the sky, right? The Deus ex machina, and throw it in there. You gotta try to avoid that. But to your point, they do legitimately have like a straight up Factor, Uber Eats, whatever food delivery service you want to, we'll just go ahead and generate mad food and send it to you. And you guys will be good. Why Bajor isn't like, yo, break us off with a couple of those industrial food replicators so we can actually eat down here. Y'all floating above us, living fat, watching us starve. Can you help?
Well, I think that's part of it, though. The way they've set this up is Bajor is not part of the Federation at this point. And anything the Federation does has to be at the invitation of the Bajoran government, who has been up until now very hostile towards wanting the Federation involved. I mean, there's been hostility even towards having the Federation on the station.
Yeah, that's true.
Amongst the Bajoran government. And I think that's kind of this initial arc that they've set up is and they even said it, the Cardassians showed up and said, we're here to help. So there's almost this reluctance for them to ask or accept help at this point from the Federation, even if it would be advantageous. And I mean, we see that in society now, where there are people that will turn down. I mean, we saw it in the aftermath of some of the natural disasters where people have turned down or been flat out hostile towards government agency assistance to the point of pulling firearms on FEMA agents, telling FEMA agents
trucks.
Shooting at trucks. So, I mean, it's not necessarily an unrealistic idea that these folks would be opposed to the Federation even assisting in their own interest.
Yeah, they don't want those smallpox blankets. It's understandable.
Brown bottles with them. That really worked out well, too. As I sit here drinking scotch.
Mm-hmm.
Jessi.
Try coffee. at 10 o'clock at night. It's wonderful. So here's the thing. Fear, going to Christopher's. So my brain said what I was going to say before Christopher, the first started to talk. If you've ever seen the movie Labyrinth, has anybody? Okay. So
Great movie.
I feel like, yeah, it's amazing. It's probably one of my favorite movies. But like, if you see the movie, okay, so the Bajorans are her, okay, and she's given multiple chances throughout the movie to take a path that will lead her straight to where she needs to go, or it takes her through the whole movie. If she would have gone the path, we wouldn't have a movie, right? I get that point. But like, she gets to the point where there's the two doors. So the very first scene where she sees a little worm. Good job, because if she would have gone that way, it would have led her straight to the kingdom. But then she gets to the two doors, and she's like, one goes to the castle and one goes to the doom. Blah blah blah. Okay, she chose the wrong thing every fucking time because we needed a movie, right? I get it, but I feel like that's like realistically, that's what people do because of fear. And fear can either, there are two types of people that take their fear and they use it for good, and take then it's a fight or flight, right? I'm not sure, this is going to probably surprise everybody, but I'm not really a flight type of person. Okay. So like fear.
You don't say.
I know. Like, listen, I'm sorry. I had to come out and tell you guys sometime. So fear for me pushes me just a little bit further. Like I'm like, motherfuck, I'm going to walk through this door and my brain goes, this can happen. This, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, then I'm going to do this, and this, and this, and this, and I give it a chance. And almost every single time it's okay. But like they didn't even want to try. And I get it. I don't get it, but I understand why they didn't want to try, because how we talked about it earlier, how bad could it be, right? But you have the Federation helping. The Federation is not new to you. The Federation has been helping you. I understand the initial, no, we don't want anybody else helping you, but now you have demonstrated history and receipts of like, we're going to be here and do what's best for you guys because we're just assisting. So like, if the Federation said, hey, this is probably good, and Bajor was like, oh, we're scared, we'll try. Chris said it, Chris the second said it himself. I can't, both of them are Chris's to me. My brain hurts. But he said it like, if it didn't work out, you round the motherfuckers up and you send them back to the new planet. What's the harm? So you tried and it didn't work? You know what I mean? Or you have 3 million dead Skrreeans. Then what else? What's the harm to you there? It's just very weird to me to not use the fear, because like the Bajorans were like straight up, and we don't know if it would have worked. So I guess that's not exactly the same thing, because if we don't know that they could have actually made the frozen tundra work, but my brain said they can get in there, they can make it work, and all of a sudden there's a lot of people that are benefiting from this. And the Bajorans were like, nope, I'll take the path that's going to lead me through the fucking weird goblins and the talking doors and the stench. Okay, I'm done.
Jessi, have some more coffee.
I don't know how to turn off my hand. I got it. We're good.
And for those, just in case, the plan was we were going to maybe start out audio and get back up to video as I learned how to edit. For those who may be watching this on video, if you're in any way get motion sickness and have been watching Jessi's portion of the screen, we here at Especially the Lies sincerely apologize and suggest possibly some Dramamine for this episode.
I'm sorry, I don't know. You got to swipe and swipe. My computer is usually fine.
It's not that app, Jessi. This is not the swiping app. That's the other one you're thinking.
I'm not divorced yet. Okay, leave me alone.
There's nothing that says you can't browse. You were looking.
Good God, no, thank you. That makes me nauseous. Fuck dating, dude. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead, Christopher. Christopher the second, or Chris the first.
No, that's Chris the second.
I don't know what we're doing. Have some more coffee.
So first thing I got to say, Jessi, is you remind me of the babe.
What babe?
The babe with the power.
What power?
The power of voodoo.
Voodoo.
You do.
Do what?
Remind me of the babe. All right. Yeah, that was dope. Rest in peace, David Bowie. All right, so that was a great example, Jessi, and I'm glad you brought that up because this allows me to further expand on my point, right? And I know it's a pet peeve of mine with storytelling, but there's a reason why feats of characters in epics and sagas and big-time adventure stories or series have been such a prevalent thing over the years, right? The feats of a character, the feats of a Luke Skywalker, of a Obi-Wan Kenobi, the feats of a Captain America, the feats of an Iron Man, or the feats of a Batman, a Superman. What feats have they accomplished? And we talk about it so much because in our minds, that's what helps us identify them as being the pinnacle of a character, a hero, or an anti-hero, or an antagonist, a villain, whatever. What have they done? What have they gone through, right? In Labyrinth, her feat was she made it through the labyrinth, right? Defeated the Goblin King, got Toby back, brought Toby back to the crib, and everything was great, right? Right?
It's not fair.
Right, that was her feat. And if the whole movie, to harken back to my point, if the whole movie would have been just that, without that part of the slug or the worm or whatever saying, oh, well, if she would have just chosen that door, I would have taken her straight to the kingdom. See, now you're introducing something into the story that just kind of makes it seem just ridiculous. You get rid of that one line. Now it sets up her having to go through the labyrinth. There is no way around it. Now her feat isn't, if that dumb would have just went through the other door, right? Then she wouldn't have to go through all that. It would have been, damn, she went through all that, had no choice, conquered that so she can get little bro and bring him back to the crib so her parents didn't kill her when they got home, right? Right, resilience, exactly. That would have upped her feat. So in this episode, if they would have just wrote it and executed on the story differently, then it would have landed, I think, much better in my opinion. Whenever they have characters, and this is just my pet peeve of mine, whenever you have characters making certain decisions and they're not logical decisions, they're based on emotion. I get it. We're all human, right? But to me, I feel like there's always a better path in writing a story if you're able to put a character, your protagonist, up against something that's unavoidable and make them step up to the plate and overcome it. And then they get presented with something else and they overcome it, right? You go on a hero's journey, and not to say they're going to do it all by themselves, because at some point, right, the magical help needs to come in, right? The oracle or the guide or the mentor at some point needs to step in and put them on that path, help reveal something either within themselves or externally that they need to obtain, or realize in order to overcome. But you put things in front of them that are unavoidable through whatever the help is or whatever it is innately about them or whatever skills that they have that helps them overcome it. Now we look at that character different. The story lands much better and we get a whole different kind of outlook on what ride did we just go on. We didn't go on a ride that was unnecessary if she would have just chosen the other door. We went on a ride that was unavoidable. We didn't know how we were going to make it, but by God, we made it. Amen.
And we did it. And look, we tried it and we helped a bunch of people and we're better for it. But no, we're gonna take the long way on purpose.
Right. So in this instance, for this episode, I'm just like, they could have done it so many different ways and had it land and hit much harder. But instead they went this path. And for me, again, in my opinion, that was where they went wrong with the episode.
Nicole, you've been mighty quiet this episode. Our eternal ray of sunshine has not been sunshining.
No, I've just been kind of taking it in and hearing everybody's points and stuff. And I mean, I agree with a lot of what's been said. I just think that, there could have been other outcomes. There could have been other ways to execute it. It just, again, for me, an uncomfortable episode. I didn't really care for it. And I really just don't have too much to say. Believe it or not, for once, I don't have a lot to say. It's a frickin' moment that never happens.
Just a couple notes on some of the casting in this episode before we jump into predictions. One is one of the Bajor ministers. Actually, for those that were on the DS9 podcast or on the Babylon 5 podcast, Kitty Swink played a senator with EarthGov in that. She's back in this as one of the Bajoran ministers, and that is the wife of Armin Shimmerman. So Quark's wife shows up in this.
Oh, cute.
But the other one is one of the two Skrreean kids that gets into it with Jake and Nog is actually Andrew Koenig, who is the late son of Walter Koenig, who was Chekhov from the original series.
That's why he looks so fucking familiar. Now that you said that, he looked the really snotty little, like...
That you wanted to punch in the face?
The one that you wanted to punch every time he was on the screen?
Yep.
Wait, he's dead?
Now it makes so much sense.
Yeah, and Andrew Koenig committed suicide.
Jesus.
Several years ago. He struggled with mental health.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I believe it was back in...
Yeah.
That's
so
too bad.
are we all in agreement that we well, I don't know if we all expected it, but at one point I kind of expected Quark to pull out his MAGA hat the way he was acting towards the Skrreeans. I was like, good Lord.
Him and Kira both.
Quark.
Shit.
Yeah, like Quark, what's going on?
Oh, yeah. He's always
what's going on here, man?
Oh, yeah.
He couldn't profit off him, so yeah.
I don't know if Quark is MAGA. He just is going to be the one that sells the merch to pocket the money.
That's fucking. He's the Jeffree Star of DS9. Like,
wow.
You're not one to be speaking up about things that you're speaking up, you fucking dumbass. But I'm gonna leave that.
On that note,
so people we have offended this evening with this episode, we look forward to seeing your comments in our inbox.
You know what? Can we talk about threesomes again? I mean, multiple men's.
Double stuff?
Okay.
Goodbye.
Double stuff.
And I don't think she means the Oreos, folks.
So. No, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. God damn.
Hey, she did say she was like, men can be very useful. I was like, oh.
Okay, lady. I know. I was like, damn, she getting it. She's getting her fuck on, as you would say.
Well, you know, the price of eggs are
on some shit, bitch.
Hey.
She was fucking on some shit for sure.
He was fucking on some shit. Listen, before I was saying before my computer so rudely fucking cut me off, I don't know the logistics of it. Like, you know, some polyamorous people, they like have 4 wives and they all live in different houses, right? But they're all connected. But then some of them have 4 wives and they all sleep in the same bed. I don't know what their dynamics are. I have always told my husband, it is okay if you get a girlfriend. I would love to have a third income, but she has to be old. She has to be from old money and want to pay a third of the bills. That's the only requirement. So, and no, I'm no longer taking applications. It's changed in the last hour. I need this.
But if anybody would like to explain these dynamics to Jessi,
feel
free to reach out. We will forward them on to Jessi for explaining the dynamics of polyamorous couples, bed arrangements, housing arrangements, bills.
I'm not the third. I used to be the married couple, and then we could like make it work. Now I would be the single one, and I'm not doing that. I'm not fucking. Okay, moving on. Let's go. God, it fucking makes
my mind.
This is pretty much the idea of how last week went.
Got it. Okay. All right. Welcome back. Meanwhile, back in the ranch.
I have no predictions or questions. Can we move on?
I don't either. Blake is pouring more alcohol.
Carry on.
Listen, I'll try it out first, Prentice. I'll let you know how it goes. I'll give me a 96-year-old man, old money.
They don't exist. They're dead. What are you talking about?
Prentice, don't knock my dreams, okay? That's rude. I encourage your dreams, and you're over here smashing mine. I don't like it.
What dreams are you talking about? I didn't talk about getting with the old woman. You put that on me. I just said I wanted.
But then you wanted to hear about it, Prentice. You wanted to hear. Don't put that anymore on me. You wanted to talk about it.
In these troubled economic times, I'm looking at options. I just said I was going to take it. I was just listening to the proposition. Anyway,
Prentice,
Chris,
it was
you
your day
say
to be the adult.
I ain't being adult. We're just having a lovely conversation about life.
You are encouraging the bullshit again.
What? No.
I don't think that he's the only one in that particular rowboat, madam.
Okay. But the
seriousness
with which he just said, "What? No, all innocent." Oh, damn, that was. You do that a lot, sir.
I've missed you, Prentice. I've missed you.
Yeah, it's that. What I do?
Were you trying to say something before we were talking about this octogenarian fantasy, whatever?
We're trying to go.
Yeah.
Blake's poured more with whatever he's drinking. My brain is.
No, it's almost gone already. Imagine that.
Who gave their predictions already? I'm sorry. Where?
Let's end it if anybody had some predictions on this thing.
Okay.
So, Jessi, predict something, goddamn.
God damn, please move on. I have nothing to say or offer to this conversation.
You had a lot to talk about dating an old person, but okay.
I'm not. Prentice, do I need to say sorry?
No, you don't need to say sorry. It's have that mental abuse of my psyche.
I didn't mean to tell you.
By the way, if you're a 96-ish-year-old male and want to take care of Jessi for the rest of your days,
you cannot have
heirs and a relatively decent bank account. Send Jessi a message.
Some canceled plans. I about said something not funny. Let's move on. Can we go?
Canceled
plans. Let's go to Chris for your predictions.
Yeah, no, I ain't nothing. I ain't got nothing for you, Blake.
All right, I have something.
We'll get to you in a minute. Put your damn hand down. It's not your turn yet.
Okay. Great.
Nicole.
Just my only question would be, are we going to see the Skrreea again? Or are they going to become like a rotating figure or race that we deal with? Or was this a one and done kind of thing with them?
One and done. Like Prentice's relationships.
Jesus.
He wasn't even. Oh, there he
Took
is.
it very dark is funny, but let's believe I get played. Nice try.
I'm
Move on
sure
to the
you
next
do
one.
get multiple one.
Hey, you heard
plays.
what Prentice said. Prentice said they come knocking, and he replies, "You're too old." So he's getting it thrown at him, but he's shooting it down like duck hunt. Prentice, you just got to be careful. So don't.
But does he have the little dog that pops up when he misses?
Yeah. Well, for Prentice, it wouldn't be the dog from Duck Hunt. It would be the little creature that sat on Jabba the Hutt's shoulder.
You
that
mean
would just laugh at all his
Salacious Crumb.
jokes. Salacious Crumb. That's
There
it.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Prentice would keep a Salacious Crumb. He wouldn't keep the hunting dog. But just got to be careful because these OnlyFans girls are out here getting the older brothers for money. So watch your back. If you call them too old and you going young, they're gonna tap your pockets, bruv. So just be careful.
Why would I be on OnlyFans?
I'm just telling you what's going
You'll have
on
to
in the
ask
streets
Jessi
out
about
here.
OnlyFans.
I don't pay
No,
for
I don't have one. Stop it. Don't do that to me. Not yet, at least. Leave me alone.
There's the yet there.
Yeah?
It's early. Feet pics are a very lucrative business. Leave me alone.
Christopher,
You wanna buy some-
you have thoughts. I can tell you have thoughts.
Christopher, do you want to buy some feet pics? That's what I heard.
No.
What, you say
Jessi.
Phoenix?
Oh, wait. No, I don't, but I can if you're interested. Hey, Christopher, wasn't this a conversation last time I saw you in person? Something about buttholes.
Solid.
I don't know.
Solid.
Chris,
Oh, you know.
yeah,
Don't act like you don't know.
I don't know.
What is going on here?
Chris sells butt pics, butthole pics on his OnlyFans page.
Man,
Can you edit? Can you even edit shit like this, or are we just gonna be out there fucking
we
dick
are
swinging
too
in the wind?
far gone at this point.
You just wait and see what gets posted.
This is terrible.
Pull it together, Chris. Pull it together.
My
Chris,
question
Jesus Christ,
is,
go.
are the Dominion a cartel, a mob, an evil empire? Because they've been mentioned twice now, and they don't seem good. And
Who?
the Dominion.
Oh.
OnlyFans.
No, I thought he said the Kardashians. I'm like, you don't know who the Kardashians are? We need to go back to season 1.
They're those whores on E.
Excuse me?
That got Prentice's attention.
Right? He heard horrors, excuse me?
Prentice is like Scott with boobs. If you say anything about anything, he's like, wait, what?
Christopher's broken.
Yo, let's wrap this up. Let's go.
Yeah, I want to go to bed. I'm tired.
Now he wants to wrap it up. Let's.
Anything else, Christopher? Or was that it?
That was it. Just who the fuck are the Dominion?
Yeah, good question, actually.
Okay, so we have our 2 comments. I think this more than ends our discussion of this particular masterpiece episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Sanctuary. We will be back next week with another episode. With me tonight has been
Prentice, and I don't want an old woman. Next.
The chat, so maybe Jessi.
Who
wants an old man. And Christopher.
Nicole.
I feel judged.
Chris.
And we listen and we don't judge as complete goddamn bullshit. We judge the shit out of this. I am Blake, and we will see you next week. For those who want to stick around who have seen the show, we're going to go visit with some prophets. And for those who haven't seen past this episode, feel free to show yourself out the nearest airlock or into the nearest holodeck to get yourself whatever you need after this.
Thank you for listening to Especially the Lies, a Deep Space Nine podcast. You can find all the places to listen to and watch this podcast by searching for Especially the Lies on your podcast app or on YouTube. We want to hear from you, so join the conversation at Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review where you are listening to or watching this podcast. Especially the Lies is not affiliated with, and the podcast has not been prepared, approved, or licensed by Paramount or any other owners of the Star Trek copyright. All clips included in this podcast are the intellectual property of the respective copyright holders. They are included here for purposes of review, and no infringement is intended.
Why have you brought me here? Show yourselves. What do you want?
The Cisco has returned to us. He arrives with questions.
There are always questions.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's going to be a good episode. Good luck, Blake, editing that one.
Welcome back to those who have watched Deep Space Nine Past Sanctuary, or those who don't give a shit about a spoiler at this point. We are here to visit with the prophets this evening and have a little discussion about our newbies' questions and predictions, the whole 2 of them that we have. Emily, what was our first one?
All right, we'll start with Nicole because
Nope. Fixes that one.
to the planet, and this was the question we would get: are the Dominion cartel a mob or an evil empire?
Yes.
Yes to that. I'm glad that Chris called it out, said this is the second time they were mentioned. He was really taking.
I think it might be the third, though.
No, it is second.
The second.
It is the second? I thought there was another.
I did 2 and I went and checked, but no, it's only 2.
Okay, yeah. I was wondering if that would because...
I think he's going to find out by the end of the season, because if I'm not mistaken, the season ender is when Sisko and them go on the Ferengis and the Siskos go on a camping trip and meet the Dominion, meet the Jem'Hadar.
That's right.
Season 2.
Yeah. That's the name of the episode? Is it Jem'Hadar or is it like The Search? Which one?
It's The Search. I think it's The Search,
okay.
I think.
Right.
But that's the one, really, I love that season 3 opener, though, when we get to it, because you go through TNG where the Enterprise D in the Galaxy class is just the big badass of the galaxy, and you get to that season 3 opener where they fly that Jem'Hadar ship into it and just take the thing out. I mean, that to me, I think season 3 is really when DS9 will start to turn the page, and you get into some more of the storytelling as it goes through season 3. So they're getting there, though.
They are. It's going to really pick up. I'm really excited about the newbies taking in this kind of larger universe they're going to see. The battles coming up, and I can't wait for the introduction of Worf in season 4. That's going to be awesome. So, yeah.
Well, and you kind of missed the discussion last week. We were talking about the character of Sisko and kind of how they wrote last week's episode to give a bit of depth to Sisko, who so far has been a little bit of a flat character. Yeah. And I kind of alluded to the fact that there's going to come a point about mid-season 3 where that character is going to change. And it's when they let Avery Brooks grow out the beard and the goatee and eventually shave his head. And I think that's when you really start to see Avery Brooks move into Sisko as a role.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for this episode or the season in general?
Oh, I need more wine.
One last thing.
Help you with that one.
There was a character, the musician on Deep Space Nine, that was Bajor. He was actually in the original Star Trek episode. I think Trouble with Tribbles.
I believe that was the one.
Yeah, that was one thing I did pick up when I looked up the information that he was on the original Star Trek series, and there was another reoccurring guy. So it was Leland Orsier and then William Scarlett that are 2 veteran Star Trek episodes that appeared in the As
this one starts to see some of those guest actors come back and the roles we'll start to see. I can't wait till they start to see the multiple Jeffrey Combs roles. That's going to be interesting when they start getting the umpteen Jeffrey Combs.
So excited.
Jeffrey Combs is a man. One of the funniest scenes in Deep Space Nine has to do with Wei Yun, was it 6, being killed by Worf? And then Damar laughing about it as he's drinking Kanar, talking about, oh, welcome back. Maybe you should take that up with Worf. All right, well, that's it.
Yep, I think that's it. Thank you for joining us. We will be back next week. Until then, I have been Blake, and with me,
it's Prentice.
And Emily.
We will see you later.